Point this thought came into my mind. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I found myself thinking of the whole situation. Yeah, Nandi Palmer Goodwoman and Tabo Baxter. Old news. Yeah, I know, but it did come to my mind. But mostly, for more than anything else that it's been famous for, what really stuck with me is the fact that uh, she is where she is with all of that disruption to her life and everything, and her father is right there with her in trouble for the same type of situation. And to me, what it showed me is that there's no pure example of how dysfunctional this father-daughter relationship can actually be, because you would expect the father to be a protector, especially seeing the type of a relationship that they seem to have in front of cameras. They seem to be close. So I think at some point he did have the opportunity to actually, if he was the type of a person that a father is expected to be, at least try and stop her from whatever decisions she had to take, leading to the whole situation. But then to me, it feels like it's more than just that, because it just goes to show how your parents or your father really models what you in future as his daughter accept as a form of love or romance or whatever you want to call it. Because if she was able to fall in love with someone like Tabo Baxter and actually be willing to do all she did for him, it means her feelings were quite strong. I'm not excusing anybody's behavior. I'm not judging or shaming anybody, but I wish we could all learn from that as parents, especially as fathers, whether you're there in your daughter's life or not. Because I believe if if she had a different person as a father, then I don't see her being able to accept a person like Tabo Baxter as a partner in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that she got caught up in all of that. And I'm sure at some point she did think of how the decision that she was making, how it could just destroy her life. But I believe that the feelings that she had for him were much stronger. And honestly, being where I am at my life at this stage, I I I can say I understand. I see her, because they say that the relationship that you have with your parents, they model whatever in future you accept as as a form of love. So if that was what her father modeled for her, then how was she supposed to make better decisions? And even worse, because the man is actually there, involved in the whole scenario. And I don't know how that's not, seen as a bad thing, because I saw a lot of people, instead of looking at that side of things, everybody was busy concentrating on how bad Thabo Baxter's mom is, and how she didn't treat him right because of he was a rape child, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. I'm not excusing her behavior in any way, shape, or form, but if you've never been in the same position as her, then I don't think you have a right to judge, because I believe most times the victims when it comes to situations like this, sexual abuse and things like that. They're always the ones who are blamed at the end of the day, because nobody is talking about what that guy did to her. He violated her, and nobody is interested in trying to find him, something like that. With technology today and everything that you can do to try and find a person, if someone was interested in doing that, they could find him and shame him for what he did, and get him arrested if it's possible. But nobody's interested in that. Everybody's interested in blaming her. She didn't do this, she didn't do that, she didn't. But I don't believe she had enough support around her for her to know what type of actions to take in terms of mental health, because of what she had gone through with the whole incident. And also if nothing, she, in situations where you grow up in areas like that and you are not well off, and that a whole lot of people tend to take advantage of those type of women, and you find that was not even the first incident or the last. Maybe she had been through many of, and maybe that was her breaking point. Then she couldn't handle it anymore. Then she couldn't cope with it, but there was no one there to hold her hand through it, to get her help, to guide her. She was just there alone with a child from this incident to raise, and it's so sad.
Some of you really need to hear this.
The person who's been traumatized wants nothing more than love. But because it's so unfamiliar to them, when they get it, they're suspicious of it. And they reject it, and they test it, and they punish the person who's trying to love them, unless they meet somebody who's bad for them. When they meet somebody who's bad for them and is also abusive and is also neglectful, this feels familiar. I know how to navigate this person. I'm going to love you with all my heart. But somebody who's consistent, caring, and loving, what's wrong with you? Why are you loving me? This can't be real. Let me test you. Let me swear at you. Let me shout at you. Let me pretend to break up with you. Let me test you. But you, the abusive, neglectful, narcissistic kind of partner, you're exactly what the doctor ordered. I know exactly what to do with you, so I'm going to love you endlessly.
Now, I know some of you are squirming right now after watching that, but the reality is this is what's going on. So if you've been asking yourself why you keep repeating the same toxic relationship patterns, why it feels like you've been dating or ending up in a relationship with the same person with just a different face, you have to be able to understand two things at this point. First, having that awareness about what's actually going on and why you're repeating the pattern. And second, when you know that it's not good for you and yet you still go forward with it anyways, that's that part of you that looks for the familiarity. And until you acknowledge that, and until you actually begin shifting that part of yourself, you're going to continue repeating the same patterns.